What's up, everybody? This is Super Mike 2164, and I'm happy to be back with you guys and talking to you. I was out a little bit because of the YouTube censorship situation, but it's all good. It's all good. I want you to press the thumbs up. Press the thumbs up button. Please press that thumbs up button. And just love the video. You can do that. It's a cool thing to do, loving these videos. And yeah, you know what? Yeah, love the video. Today, I just want to go to a basic conversation. I did actually create another channel, and that is going to be specifically for, the other channel is going to be specifically for history, mathematics, science. So it's the B1. Let's see. It's the B1 Math, Science, and History channel. Yeah. B1 Mathematics, Science, and History channel. Go over there and let me know what's up. Yep, you can go over there on YouTube, and that would be cool. Go ahead and subscribe to that too. I'll do, just basically the Black history. It's global history, so a lot of good things that maybe you didn't know. And that's what I'm going to get in over there. This is going to be mainly the political random channel. And I do have a BitChute channel and a Vimeo channel that's going to be for more controversial topics because, YouTube, they've made it clear they don't want it. They don't want certain conversations on their platform because I think it's because the government put it out. So we got another platform that doesn't mind. So we're going to use that. And you guys can go ahead and subscribe over there if you want to hear those conversations. On Vimeo. All right. So today, are you feeling fine? Are you feeling great? I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you to close your eyes and think of the best thoughts that you can think of. Think of the best thoughts that you can think of. And I want you to know that when you're thinking it in your primary thoughts on positive, then that means you're moving in the positive. And so that's what we want to be, moving in the positive. Let me show y'all something here. Let me have this conversation. Let's go through this here. Barack Obama had a party. Y'all see that? Barack Obama had a party. He had a party. He had some of his favorite little guests there. This man had a party, and he let Erykah Badu in the party. Erykah Badu apologizes to the Obamas for being a terrible guest by filming Barack's private 60th birthday party. Okay, but the thing is, Barack Obama told everybody that we was going to die if we had parties. He told everybody the Delta variant was out here. He told everybody that it was, going to be something happening. But what was he doing? What was he doing? Mask? Any mask? Look at. Dang, Erykah. Look at him. She got the kill shot too. See? Okay, so now it blew up. The phone down singer herself has issued a social media apology to the Obamas for, well, not knowing when to put down her phone. Okay. So they act like she did something wrong. But you see how this is what we're trying to tell people, like this stuff, we got to be real careful what we believe, okay? We really got to be real careful. So Erykah Badu, you know, she didn't know when to put her phone down, so it was her fault. Okay. Jumping on Twitter not too long, Badu addressed Mr. and Mrs. Obama directly for pulling the rookie move and capturing footage of an event that even us normal folk would have known was a big no-no. Really? What's a big no-no? What's a big no-no? Well, I mean, if everybody's telling the truth, if everybody's telling the truth, why is it a big no-no? Mr. and Mrs. Obama, please forgive me for being a terrible guest at such a sacred event for your family. I was so inconsiderate. Thank you for all your love. What an example of how not to be, Erykah. No, I think Erykah did right. I think she did right. I think she did good because we all needed to see that. You know, Allah has a good way. God has a way of getting that truth out. Doesn't matter how good you think you're going to hide it. Okay, He's going to get that truth out. We're pretty sure Big O and the missus weren't tripping too heavy over Erykah's lapse of judgment in the moment, but the fact that she even addressed it straightforward showed enough respect in itself. As you might have seen in the article we wrote last week about the party being back on after a temporary cancellation due to the rise of the Delta variant cases. A list of attendees at the soiree included, but weren't limited to, Don Cheadle, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, and besties of the Obama, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. So there's Erykah's tweet. You know, I think she did a good job. Because why should we all be loyal to one dude versus the truth of the collective? You know what I'm saying? So I think Erykah did a very good job, and I'm so happy that she did that. Let's move on. Now, I'm looking over here. People mad that hold on a second here. I've just been noticing. Oh, actually, you know what? This is what I want to do. Anyway, let me see. People mad that the Taliban is getting stuff back. The Taliban is out here. So the Taliban, they're recapturing. The U.S. is pulled out of a lot of places because they can't hold. They can't hold everything. And you know, this stuff is moving real fast though, actually, because they just changed Google real quick. Okay, there it is. So it says Taliban militants seize remaining cities on the road towards Kabul. Insurgents control 2/3 of Afghanistan provinces as U.S. begins evacuation in capital. Now, they're calling these people who born, raised their entire lives, their ancestors were born and raised here. They're fighting for their country. They live where they live. You travel from here to go over there. And then you're going to call them insurgents. Okay. And you demonize that word. That's interesting to me. You know, that's interesting to me. Insurgents control 2/3 of Afghanistan provinces as U.S. begins evacuation in capital. Taliban militants have captured all of Afghanistan. Now keep in mind, all of their homes. This is where they live. Taliban militants have captured all, have recaptured, because that's where they live. Taliban militants have captured all of Afghanistan's big cities with the exception of Kabul, leaving the government isolated on Sunday as the U.S. began evacuating personnel from its embassy and fears that the Islamist fighters are poised to assault the capital. The Taliban, which wants to impose a strict interpretation of Islamic law, they want to run their country their way. They don't want you fixing them. You know, they want to impose a strict interpretation of Islamic law. They have swept across the country in just over a week, often meeting limited resistance as they took control of almost 2/3 of the Afghan provinces in an astonishing reordering of the political map. So to me, this tells me that this was literally an occupation of the United States. Because as soon as you leave, there's no indigenous resistance to these people. This means that these people, they were the bosses there. That's their place. You just had the bigger military, so you bullied them, but you could not defeat them, their spirit. You know, and that's it. And as soon as you move away, they control where they live again because they're the bosses there. And if you can't take somebody else being a boss in their country, in their land, then maybe you're the problem. This is what the problem is. You have this mentality of you want, because you have a bigger bomb or a bigger missile that you can just, and then you have the power of the media. You can just kind of smear and justify, your evil activity. That's all it is. You're justifying evil activity. And, they're making it so it's sad that all the people who lost their lives over there, fighting to take something, they were lied to, talking about they were trying to give somebody freedom. The people are running it the way that they want to run it. If there's a legitimate difference, and if it's strong enough, the people from within will take over. That's how it goes. You don't come outside and then take over these people's land and then, feel sorry that you lost something. You were plundering their nation. That's what it looks like to me. So Kabul is now effectively surrounded. The northern city of Mashhad Sharif, traditional stronghold of fierce anti-Taliban resistance, fell to the insurgent group late Saturday night after days of heavy fighting. Influential political figures in the region fled, including anti-Taliban leaders Abdul Rashid Dostum and Atta Muhammad Noor, who sought refuge in neighboring Uzbekistan, according to the local news. These were probably the traitors. Anyway, Kabul is now effectively surrounded. All major roads to Kabul are closed. Bill Rogel, editor of the Long War Journal, wrote on Twitter on Sunday after the Taliban entered Jalabad, about 150 kilometers east of the capital. The only thing that can slow the collapse of the collapse of Kabul. Why is the collapse? Because you can't keep occupying a place forever. You can't live somewhere else forever. Anyway, slow the collapse of Kabul is the U.S. mission to evacuate the embassy, only for a time. The week-long lightning offensive has left President Ashraf Ghani's government politically and militarily isolated. Really? Anyway, is he legitimate for that part of the world? He's a puppet of the U.S. government. I mean, this is unsustainable. The people in the United States need to understand this was never correct. This was never good. It's just that you've been doing it for so long. You thought that might equals right, but it's not good. So these people are perfectly within their right to take back the country where their ancestors and themselves were born and raised in. The Taliban continued its push into the few pockets of government-held territory, with the central province of Dakundi surrendering to the Taliban on Sunday with few shots fired. Like, hey, man, we're glad you're back. The Taliban status, they are the government. The Taliban is the government. So, if somebody's telling you that something else, y'all need to be careful, because these people, all they want to do is confuse people. They want to confuse minds. And when folks are not as confused anymore, they write in their media, they feel like they're losing so much. If you feel sad and bad that the indigenous people of this land are taking back over their land, you feel sad about that? You lose something from that? Oh, well, maybe if you feel sad that somebody that maybe a family member or something like that, life was lost over there. I mean, that is because the U.S. Military was ordered to go over there. And that's after 9/11, and nobody from here, they didn't do this. They didn't do 9/11. The Taliban didn't do 9/11. Okay? So they should have never been pushed out. They just didn't want those oil rigs going through their territory. They didn't want those oil pipelines going through their territory at all. You see? And that's what it was. And the oil companies, which are multinational corporations, just like Big Pharma, they have so much influence over the United States government that they just pushed it on through, and thought that they would be able to wipe the Taliban off the map within a few weeks or months. Obviously, it didn't work. And it's the same thing. It's not working on black people. They thought they would be able to wipe us out by now. Obviously, that's not working. But let's go on. So we have this other story. So, I mean, really, it's a good thing for the U.S. because we don't need to be wasting money over there. That's going to save money, right? So what's the problem? President Joe Biden late on Saturday announced that Washington would increase its deployment of troops to Afghanistan to 5,000 to support the evacuation. They're still leaving, but they just want to hold it. They want to make sure that nobody gets hurt, which I can see that. That's fair. But you still got to go. To support the evacuation of diplomats from the American embassy, as well as other allied personnel and thousands of Afghans at high risk of Taliban retribution. That's right, because that's what happens. So we're going to have, and what happens is when this is the coon class, when the coon class can't survive in their own nation, where do they come? This is a habitation. You know, every hateful bird flies to America. So we're going to have a whole bunch of Afghans who betrayed their own country to come live here. But we're used to it. In a statement, Biden said Washington had warned the Taliban that any action on their part on the ground in that, how are they going to warn people in their own country and they beat you? Anyway, see, this is the problem, this arrogance. You know, respect other people. You know, any action on their part on the ground in Afghanistan that puts U.S. personnel or our mission at risk there will be met with swift and strong military response. He also said that the U.S. would work with Ghani and other Afghan political leaders, as well as regional powers. See, they don't even name, they know who's in power over the Taliban, but they won't tell us who those people are, as well as other regional powers, as they seek to prevent further bloodshed and pursue a political settlement. However, experts warned that Afghanistan, with a diverse mix of rival ethnic groups and fierce community rivalries, was headed towards civil war. And they're going to make sure of that because they want to keep places that they leave destabilized. They don't want that strong leadership to come in and really stabilize it. When they leave, they're going to have all their real spies and assassinations, so they'll do it that way. This is the end of Afghanistan as a nation, really. Okay, it was Afghanistan before you got there. But anyway, Sarah Wadidi, a former Afghan government official who runs a security app for Kabul residents, wrote on Twitter. So they're writing on Twitter. How come y'all couldn't protect your own nation? No one will be able to lead the entire country. We are back to 1992. Okay. The rapid disintegration of the Afghan National Army has stunned many in Washington who had expected the U.S. trained force to be able to put up a stronger resistance. The U.S. don't train no force, right? The rapid disintegration of the Afghan National Army. God. There was a bunch of punks. Obviously, there was a bunch of punks. The Afghan National Army has stunned many in Washington who had expected the U.S. trained force to be able to put up a stronger resistance to the onslaught from the Islamist insurgents. However, many analysts said the abrupt pace of the U.S. drag down, including, they tap dancing here, including excuse making. The U.S. main military facility virtually overnight had severely damaged morale. Why? You should be happy that the U.S. is getting out of your business. Anyway, among the Afghan forces undermining, so they say they blame the damaged morale among those Afghani people, and so undermining their will to fight. Really? What we've underestimated is the level of Taliban planning. Because they keep telling us, they make it seem like the Taliban is idiots and backwater woods people who don't know how to defend themselves. But what we've underestimated is the level of Taliban planning with regard to the withdrawal. Rudolf Chaudhary, a war studies lecturer at King's College, London, told the Financial Times, they had a very clear path. The question is, how did the entirety of the U.S. intelligence community not know this? This is insane to me. Many Afghans also expressed fury at the U.S. focus on evacuating its own citizens, okay, leaving Kabul home to a growing Afghan middle class. This middle class, there's a bunch of sellouts. Middle class to the Taliban. Muskar Degasker, a political science professor at the American University of Afghanistan, described many Afghans' impression of the message the U.S. pullout was sending to the Taliban as, please don't start your slaughter until we leave. Thank you very much. So, but the point is, though, this 20-year war have kids born there, and they stay long enough to confuse people, and now they're all Americanized.
War in Afghanistan was never meant to be a multi-generational undertaking. We were attacked. We went to war with clear goals. We achieved those objectives. Bin Laden is dead, and Al-Qaeda is degraded in Afghanistan. And it's time to end the forever war.
When I'm sleeping, I see war. You're expecting to be killed anytime.
We have to be strong. We only have each other.
من فکر میکنم 5 سال زمان طالبان به اندازه چندین سال افغانستان به عقب برگشتن از هر لحاظ اقتصادی.
So the Taliban ruled from 1960 to 2001, and they still didn't rule. And the thing is, you notice those other people were speaking English. So anyway, that's the Taliban. Also, let's look at this one. Saif Islam Gaddafi is coming back. He ready to get back in and take back his nation. Saif Islam Gaddafi. They want to take back their place. They killed his daddy, and now he wants to come back. So the U.S., they're drawing down their power. You see it is going back, and people are stabilizing themselves again. So let's look into this real quick. Saif Islam Gaddafi, son of late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, may run for upcoming presidential election in the country despite currently being in hiding, according to the aides. Gaddafi has not appeared publicly since he was captured by the Libyan desert by the rebels in 2011, following the overthrow and subsequent killing of his father, the murder of his father on the internet by Hillary Clinton and, the Obama administration. Oh, this is disgusting. What the heck is that? So, according to aides speaking to the Times, he now is set to make a return to public life and soon will be making a statement to that effect. They added that Gaddafi planned to run for election scheduled for the 24th of December, but any nomination would be dependent on the ratification of an election law which may be used by opponents to prevent him from running. The aide said Gaddafi, who confirmed his identity to the Times via telephone, had been making overtures to foreign diplomats in an attempt to gain credibility, which he already has, in an attempt to return to politics. In the past, Gaddafi was able to count the likes of former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, all these other Rothschilds and all this crap people as his acquaintances. He was also hosted by Prince Andrew of Buckingham Palace. These are the people who killed his father. Any attempt to re-enter public life is likely to be complicated, however, by outstanding arrest warrants, as if that law has any bearing. This man was the leader of his country. He was the son of the leader of a country, and it was a good leader as well. Muammar Gaddafi was killed by rebels in that country in a dehumanizing way, and with the help of the United States and the United Nations. All right. During the uprising, Saif Islam became, for many, the face of government's defiance, regularly denouncing the opposition as terrorists. And they were terrorists, and that's what they did. They terrorized him and they destroyed his government. So he was right to call them that. And this is the problem. We got to stop playing stupid and dealing with these fake, stupid, bad faith media reporting. It's not honest reporting. This man was the leadership of his country. Of course, he's going to call people who are just trying to destroy and topple his government terrorists. For him, they were terrorists, and promising that his father's administration would fight to the last minute until the last bullet, which they did. After years of fighting between rival camps following Muammar Gaddafi's overthrow, so as soon as and slavery in Libya, keep in mind, slavery is being sold after that. And this is the Obama administration that had that happen, that allowed that. Hillary Clinton, those folks. Okay. And then you want to talk about slavery. These are the people who allowed slavery, who started back slavery in Libya, are the people that Saif Islam called terrorists. He was fighting terrorists. And it's right. He was correct in calling them that. All right. After years of fighting between these rival terrorists following Muammar Gaddafi's assassination, a formal truce was signed just last October, between military commander Khalifa Haftar and forces loyal to the internationally recognized administration in Tripoli. So that's the Western government, the slave people. This led eventually to the creation in March of an interim government. Forces loyal to Haftar, a former Gaddafi ally turned defector, are reportedly keen to prevent Saif Islam's return to the political scene, according to pro-Gaddafi outlets. Haftar's son, Saddam, who is also considering a political run, sought to have him killed recently. So that's what's going on over there. And then finally, we're going to get to this one here. This here is something that's stateside. We've been talking about this really for decades and decades, and now it's here. And we need to understand, I'll do another show on this by itself, and we'll have a conversation. Because this is actually very dangerous, but we should have known. Hey, what's up, Kojin? Hey, what's up, Kojin? I know y'all sleep. I'm just coming out. But white people, we already knew they was going down. But now they're admitting, and the census data is showing, white population shrank. Okay, they shrank for the first time. And so now we can just dismiss that and make it seem like it's no big deal. But I'm sure that all these people who consider themselves white, who they're feeling some type of way because that they're starting to understand what that privilege was that everybody was talking about. You're starting to understand what that privilege was. That privilege was that you were the top gun. You can do anything. And now you're seeing that your group is going down. Now, there's a lot of white people who's like, whatever, they don't care, but most of them do. And so consensus that shows that white population shrank for the first time. The decennial count indicates Latinos, Asians, and other racial groups drove all the U.S. population growth during the past decade. Interesting. The first detailed results of the 2020 census show a diversified nation where the total population shrank for the first time in its history, where large metropolitan areas, especially in South and Southwest, saw the strongest growth. South and Southwest, where the Mexican immigration is high. The non-Hispanic white population dropped by 2.6% between 2010 and 2020, a decline that puts that group's share of the total U.S. population below 60%. Okay, so they don't even tell you the actual number. They just say it's lower than 60%. That's enough. The number of people who identify as more than one race of ethnicity grew at the fastest rate of any group, partly due to changes that captured more detailed responses, because they don't want you to have just black, white, and Native American no more, because then they can't play games with the numbers to show that they still have a majority. The nation's population grew just 7%, 7.4% during the decade, the second slowest on record for a decennial census. Only in the 1930s, the era of the Great Depression, saw slower growth. Slightly more than half, 51% of the total population growth in the U.S. Latest period came from increases among Hispanic and Latino residents. So I'm going to put that in the chat because I'm about to end it. And I want you guys to consider following me on Get On Black Enough. I want to show that because Black Enough is a social media site. It's not, you're not going to get censored for regular stuff. So a lot of black people are on Black Enough. And just type it in, BLAGGENUF.com. Go ahead and sign up there. You can follow me. I'm Michael Akiba Farad on there. You can follow me on Vimeo. I'll put that in the link. And yeah, let's so that way we can have some other conversations, because I don't have the Patreon because I don't need everybody paying me money for it right now, you know. But right now we just want to try to have some of the other conversations too that, you know, I keep getting banned off of YouTube for. So there you go. You can follow that White Decline article. All right, y'all. And appreciate y'all coming and checking out the stream. Share the message. And let's look at it. And that's it. Let's do it.